Oh, we've got a countdown. I think it's 30 seconds, right? Anybody got to watch? Of course, I can't hear you right now. I'll turn you on later on if you want to discuss this. So thanks for being with us tonight, and we'll get started exactly at 9 o'clock, according to Google. Hope that's okay. I'm checking my cell phone right now. It is 8:59. I don't have a second count. And I put in this neat thing on my camera so it follows me around, and that may kill you. Who knows? But give me a vote. Let me know if you want me to just go with the regular camera where it just stays on me, and if I move to the side, it doesn't move with me. Just let me know what happens. I'm playing. Also, I've got a new microphone. Let me know if that works better, too. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the American Association of Independent Periodontists meeting on Google reviews, on getting spectacular Google reviews. We're going to get into that in a moment. I want to talk to you about a couple things. First of all, Danielle and I, along with my wife, Eleanor, three of us went up to Washington, D.C. Dr. Hamid Shafi runs an organization called the American AIID, something, American Institute of Implant Dentistry, something like that. Anyway, he runs some good programs, some clinical programs. He's also interested in management programs as well. So he ran a one-day program with Porsche Consulting. Yeah, that Porsche Consulting. Now, I'll give you a brief story. Porsche Consulting is the consulting group that makes Porsche automobiles, makes that business tick. Now, those of you who follow sports cars, and I don't, but I remember it as they were describing it. Porsche almost went out of business in the early 90s. Remember they had the Porsche 914, and I think there was all sorts of problems with that car. So they had to make a decision. Are they going to cut a business? They're going to do something that's going to work. And essentially what they did was decide that it was going to work. And of course, Porsche is an automobile now that's in high demand and gets a good price. And what's interesting, as opposed to what happens in the United States, and this lecturer from Porsche Consulting, who's from Stuttgart, Germany, talked about the fact that Porsche is a custom-made car. In Europe, people order them as custom-made cars. And so, and here, of course, they're in the United States, they're in a showroom, but that's kind of the minority of their sales. And what they did was essentially create an assembly line that works to provide customized cars. And it worked very well. They went and studied the Japanese, found out what the Japanese were doing. They went and looked at what Toyota was doing and what Honda was doing, and started to bring some of those technologies, part of which was to accept and to listen to what staff members had to say in order to make the business run more efficiently. Well, the success story on Porsche is tremendous. The amount of time that it took to produce a car was reduced significantly. The quality went up, and of course the profit margins were much better as they adopted new systems. So why was I going to a meeting with Porsche Consulting? Why? Well, Porsche Consulting, once they solved the automobile nightmare that was occurring with Porsche, decided to expand out. And the first thing and the first practice they got involved in was cardiothoracic surgery. Yeah. So you take a car manufacturer or a consulting group and you go into cardiothoracic surgery in order to streamline cardiothoracic surgery. And they've done about somewhere between 100 and 125 hospital cardiothoracic surgery practices to make them more efficient. And as they say, to lean them out. Make them lean. Get rid of the fat. Essentially, it's looking at motions and repeated motions and things that we kind of get accustomed to, but they just don't really work out the way we expect them to, the way we want them to, but they're there and we kind of ignore them, and so you see people going through repetitive motions. So we listened to that. We spent time listening to that. We also spent time listening to some of the things that were important to us, and one was inventory. And Porsche will order inventory as they need it. And I thought we were doing the same thing too, except we look back at our inventory system. I think I'm pretty good. I think we've got a good practice management system here. Obviously, that's one of the reasons why I think we can run this kind of a program, make it effective, effective for you. But at the same time, there was an area of my practice that I had ignored, and that was inventory control. And so we looked at the inventory system, which I invented in this practice in the 1980s. When it took a week or two to get things from Benko or Henry Schein or Patterson, whoever we were ordering from at that time. And so we had a stock level, we had an order level. The stock level, it might have been 12, and the order level was 4, and ordinarily it would take 1 to 2 weeks to get things. So I was basing it on a 1980s model. And I looked at the stock room, and we saw that there is stock there that we just have too much of it. We don't need as many implants. We can get implants in a day, for example. There are a number of things that we looked at and found out that we could lean them out. And so I worked with my ordering assistant, and we've established a new program very, very quickly so that we aren't accumulating so much stock. The idea is, do you want the money in your stock room? Of course, some of you are probably more advanced than I am in this regard. Or do you want the money in your pocket so that you can pay for things like marketing, which is what we're talking about today, although what we're talking about today is something you can do for absolutely no charge, absolutely free. But at the same time, do you want the money to be able to use in a disposable fashion when you need it, or do you want it tied up in inventory? So something to look at. I've got to tell you that also this company, this consulting company, obviously is trying to sell their consulting services to people like us. And what they do is actually observe everybody in the practice. They see what we're doing and what repetitive motions we might be making and how we may be able to run things a little bit more efficiently. And sure enough, Danielle did that. She did that on Monday and part of Tuesday. She just went around with a big 8.5 by 11 pad of paper, and she started taking notes on what people were doing. She said it was amazing what we found. So if I can give you 2 tips which have nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, but after all, if we took the trip to Porsche Consulting, of course I want to share that with you. Number 1, take a look at your inventory. Make sure that you're as lean as possible, understanding that we can get everything in a day now, and understanding that maybe those deals, those bulk deals, may not be as good as you might think they are, because sometimes, as I discovered, we have some stock that expires, and if you've got a $300 pericardium membrane that's expired, that's $300 down the drain. So I suggest taking a look at that. And number 2, if you remember, we talked about hiring an office manager. That was what Danielle talked about at the last teleseminar. Once you have that office manager in place, you might just want to let that office manager take a look and see what's going on in your practice, and just take notes and what could be and determine what can be done more efficiently, and it may make a big difference. Well, that's by the way, just so you know what the schedule is next week. For all of you who are on the Total Immersion program, which is most of you, Danielle is going to be speaking. We're toying with the idea of Danielle doing a webinar. So we'll let you know in advance whether it's going to be a webinar, whether it's going to be a phone teleseminar, so that you can prepare for that. But there are some things. She's going to be talking about how to design a weekly battle plan, which is really important. We do that every single week. And how to run an effective staff meeting. And a staff meeting where everybody's up when they get done, and where it isn't a total bitch session. That's not what we want. We want a staff meeting for planning, so that we plan for the week and we have a very successful week. And we have a specific way of doing that, and we're going to share that with you through the management system we use, which is a Hubbard management system, which we learned from Silka Management many, many years ago. So we're going to share that with you, and hopefully you'll be able to run an effective staff meeting, because all of the staff members, just as we learned from Porsche Consulting, all of the staff members need to be involved. They really need to be involved. It isn't just giving orders. The staff members are right there. They're right on site. They know what's going on. They know what's going on with the patient. They know when things can be improved. And if we provide the right environment for that, and a controlled environment in order to be able to get that to happen, it's amazing what staff members can do to help you do better, make more money, and run more efficiently, and treat your patients better. So, and that's what we all want. Well, getting spectacular Google reviews, important. People look online. I'm going to go over some data online because if you've been in practice as long as I have, and I went into practice here in 1980, if you've been in practice as long as I have, sometimes you have some expectations. By the way, if you're into practice in the 1990s, you may have certain expectations, but in 2014, that is totally different. If you went to practice yesterday, you're going to say, well, I already know this, so okay. Maybe you can give us some hints as you're looking at this. But there is a term that came out in 2011. It's called Zero Moment of Truth. As a matter of fact, there is a book, and if you go to Google and just Google Zero Moment of Truth, read some of the books on there. They're little book. They're online booklets, 20, 30, 40 pages. One is 70 pages. Just read, and you'll get an idea as to what the idea of the zero moment of truth is. So I'm going to show you what the old model is, and the old model of buying something. We'll talk about it in terms of dentistry in a moment. We'll talk about it in terms of a product here. All right, so you get a stimulus. What's a stimulus? You might see an ad on TV. You might see an ad in a newspaper. Something that stimulates you to say, yeah, I really want to at least look at that product. Okay, the stimulus might be that somebody talked to you about a product. Somebody said, hey, I tried this. Or let's talk about it in terms of dentistry. Hey, I went to this dentist, and this dentist was really good. Okay, so that was the stimulus. And you might have a toothache, or you might have an aesthetic need, or whatever that is in dentistry, as you know. Okay, the first moment of truth was, at that time, to go to the store, look at the product on the shelf, look at the packaging, maybe talk with a salesman, something like that, and then you decide to buy it, which is the second moment of truth. You experience the buy. Excuse me, I'll scratch my nose. How inappropriate. And so you have the second moment of truth, and then you try it, and you like it, and now you can be the one who recommends it to somebody else. Okay, that's the old model. What about zero moment of truth? What do people do now? Well, they may get a stimulus. They may see an ad. They may see something, see a circular direct mail ad. They may see it on TV, hear about it on radio, all of the different ways we can hear about something. But then what do people do now? That's right, they go online. And they look at us online before they ever come in. In the 1990s, it was a big deal. It's a real big deal to have an educated consumer. Now everybody that walks in is educated. As a matter of fact, it's the minority that isn't educated. So zero moment of truth. They go online, or they talk with somebody before they come in and visit you. That's the zero moment of truth. Then the first moment of truth is they come in and they visit us, and then they decide whether they like us, and they assess us, and then they look at all of the other things that are involved in deciding whether a person is going to accept a treatment plan or not. And a lot of that has to do with us, and a lot of that has to do with how we project ourselves. A lot of that has to do with how happy your staff is and how happy you are. People buy when they're happy. People buy when they see someone who's happy. We'll talk about that. It's tone level. What's the tone level of the office? Tone level, people buy when they're happy, when they see everybody else is happy. Everybody's serious? Why are they so serious? And then they'll get serious as well. We don't buy when we're serious. We don't buy nearly as often. We're enthusiastic. We're enthusiastic about something or someone, and somebody's enthusiastic about us. Boy, then we're going to buy. So then that's the first moment of truth in our office. We talk with them. We present our treatment plan. We get into conversations with them. We get to know them, whatever your technique is. And then finally, they get the implant. They get the perio treatment. They get the crown and bridge. They get whatever it is. They experience it. Now they can chew. They can smile. And then they become the zero moment of truth for the next person who recommends the next person to our offices. And by the way, let's make sure, I know we're periodontists, I know we're thinking we don't want to step on the toes of the general dentist and all that. I want you to break free of that After all, I did. You know, even as a periodontist is working with general dentists all the time, people can come in and see you. There are people who need dental implants all the time. People can come in and see you for dental implant therapy, and you can refer out to the general dentist. We talked about that at last month's webinar. So encourage a patient to come in. Listen, if a patient is referred to you by Dr. Smith, and the patient comes in and you say, listen, we've got, I hope we've enjoyed your office, our office. If you know of somebody who really needs tooth replacement, we're happy to see that person. And we'll see that person, and of course we'll refer that person back to Dr. Smith. So Dr. Smith is going to win from this relationship as well. People like you. People love going to the specialist's office. They do. I know they do. Because they like coming here. They like seeing you. So there's no reason why you can't encourage other people to come in and see you. And Dr. Smith will be very happy when you refer out the custom abutment and the crown for the implant you put in, or the crown and bridge, or whatever it is that's appropriate. So that's going to be a running theme this year, and that's to get people to come in to see you and come to see you first and get those recommendations. And when you can literally sell the treatment plan before the patient comes back to the general dentist, you think the general dentist is going to be upset over that? Not likely. Okay, so that's the first moment of truth, and then the second moment of truth, they experience your dentistry, and as I think I already said this, and we go back to the zero moment of truth, they recommend somebody else to your office. Okay, let's look at all the different zero moments of truth. And so a zero moment of truth might be they search for you online, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, getting Google reviews, because I reviewed some of your sites. I looked at how many Google reviews you get. And while I only have 20, I still have more than anybody else in my area. You'll see that in a minute. And that's what's important, that people are searching for you online. Wouldn't it be great if, besides seeing your website, they see 5, 10, 15, 20 different Google reviews saying, hey, Dr. Smith is great. Don't you think that'll encourage more people to walk into your office? And by the way, I know we're in competition with general dentists. We talked about that at the initial seminar, but we're also in competition with other periodontists. And I know we're all colleagues, but understand we're in business together. We're in business, and people are going to choose one periodontist over the other. What's one reason they're going to do that? Let's assume Dr. Smith refers and puts 4 names of periodontists on the list, or the typical 3, or whatever it is. How are they going to choose you? Well, particularly if most people are going online now to check you out, if they see positive Google reviews, do you think they might be more likely to pick up the phone and call you? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so anyway, comparison shopping is shopping products online. There are a number of different things. You can read all of these. I know they're a bit distorted. And first moment of truth is you looked at the product package in the store. You read a brochure or pamphlet about the product in the store. You talk with a salesperson in the store, but you've already gone to the store. Okay, zero moment of truth is you're checking out online before you've gone to the store. Zero moment of truth is they've checked you out online before they walk into your office. Got it? And very, very important, what occurs when they go online. Well, listen. It's very, very important what occurs when you go online. Just take a look at how you shop. Do you go online to check out a product before you go into the store? Do you go online to check out a service before you take advantage of that service? Okay, so remember, everybody's doing the same thing that you're doing. Are you looking at reviews? Okay. You think patients are looking at reviews? Sure. Okay, so let's take a look at dental implants in Melbourne, Florida. I can very easily Google that. So can you, and I would encourage you to do that because I do want you to look at what we do in our office. I want you to see what's going on because maybe you can make some suggestions to me as to how I can improve. That's great. So we type in dental implants in Melbourne, Florida. I want you to just orient you. Many of you already know this, but for those who don't, I want you to look at the top. The top now says ad. This used to be, by the way, kind of a shadowed area. This is an ad. This is an ad that I've done with Google AdWords. Essentially what I've done is set up that entire message, or I had my marketing people who don't mind sharing that with you, it's Gilliard Dental Marketing, and what they did was to come up with ads. By the way, they surveyed my patients first to see what would connect with them, and then they developed an ad based on what my patients said about me or what they said about the service of the product, the products that we provide, and they used the patient's wording in the ads, and then they tested out the ads to see how people respond to those ads. Okay, so this is a pay-per-click ad. What does that mean? It means that anytime anybody clicks on this particular ad, which takes you to my website, that's when I pay. Okay, and you negotiate with Google as to how much you pay, and that's determined by, well, if I want to be second one showing up, well, that means that I guarantee that I will pay Google more per click than the third guy, or I'll pay more per click than the people over in this right column. So the more per click I'm willing to pay, the higher up I will be by comparison with somebody else. So obviously VJ Dental is willing to pay more per click than I am. Sorry? So that's how that works. And by the way, there are some surveys that say as long as you're at the top right here, chances are number one is not going to be picked any more readily than number two or number three here. So that's a pay-per-click ad. That costs money. We're not talking about money. So if we scroll down, and again, this is a PowerPoint presentation, but if I were to scroll down here, we would see this. And now we get to the Google Maps page. Okay, and this is on the first page, and you've all seen this. You want to get on Google Maps. So now you see the Kathy Stedler is another periodontist right near me. She's number one, but here I am, number two, and take a look at all of these stars. That's 20 Google reviews, and most everybody rated me at 5 stars, which is pretty nice. But you see the kind of attention that this area gets. Now, over here, when you scroll, or actually when you put your cursor on this particular item on Leanne Sheldon Periodontics, and this is what's going to show up here. You'll see what we've done on our Google Plus page, and I'll show you a little bit about that, how to enhance your Google Plus page if you haven't done that already. So there's a picture of my staff. There's where we are on Sarno Road. You can see everything, and you can see here are the top 3 reviews, or the most frequent, or the most recent reviews, and you'll see those there. So that's what you're getting for free when a patient goes on to the office. You think a patient is more likely to call 321-259-9980 when they see that? Okay, so how does this come about? So let's go to our google.com page, and we're going to show how you can get to this and how you can create a Google review. Okay, so there are going to be a number of patients who do not have a Google account. Yeah, not everybody has Gmail. You may not have a Google account. So I want you to go through these steps, and by the way, you're going to get a DVD of this anyway. I want you to go through these steps so you can become familiar with what it takes to create a Google account so that you can then teach your staff and you can teach your patients what needs to be done. So you're going to type in create a Google account. Okay, you'll click on that, and here is the account page. So now you can see that you have a grid where you're going to put in your first name, last name, passwords, all the things that you will do to create a Google account. By the way, this will give you a Gmail account as well. Okay, so let me show you how we do that. So I created a brand new Google account just for this particular lecture. Okay, so my name was Eel Nodlist. Okay, I'll give you a minute to figure out what that means. Okay, yeah, Lee Sheldon backwards. Okay, so we put that in, and I chose my username. Understand, once you've created a Google account, Google wants more and more people there. And of course, they don't charge you for Google account. So if all we're trying to do is get a Google account established so that somebody can give you a good review and they never go to Gmail again, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. So anyway, you fill in this entire grid. And where are we? So we've created the password. And then you click on, you agree, this is down at the bottom here, you agree to Google Terms of Service, or make a check, and privacy policy, and then you push next step. Okay, and now you get to this page, which shows you how you will appear. By the way, if you want to add a photo, you could add a photo. You can do whatever you'd like. And now you push next step again. Okay, now you've got your own Gmail account. And that's your Gmail account. All right, now you can push continue to Gmail, and there you are. And so now you've got your Gmail account, and there's 3 welcome messages from Gmail. Okay, let's ignore those for now. But what we want to do is go into this grid right here. These are the most common 9 Google request boxes that people have. So click on this, and you'll get to this area. And what you're interested in is Google Maps. That's where the reviews are written. That's where a person can write a review, is on Google Maps. So you click on Google Maps, and that will take you to the Google Maps page. And what you'll do is then type in the person's name. So you type in your own name to see what your Maps page would look like. And as you know, when you type into Google, Google will instantaneously fill in a number of different choices that there might be. And of course, they came up with the most prominent with the name that they would expect to see, because Google knows your geographic areas. So they came up with my name right away. You click on this, and now you see my Google local page. And there, then it says 20 reviews. Okay, so you can see all that. So you click on the reviews, and you'll get to this page. And this is your Google Plus page. And then you click on write a review. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but believe me, people who are used, and by the way, and I did this, and I do this very readily, it does flow, and as long as you follow the instructions that Google has given, it's going to be pretty easy. And I'm going to show you an even easier way, because most people do have Gmail already. Okay, so now we can click on write a review. Or if you're on this page already and you already have a Gmail account, this write a review box will show up. And so you can click on write a review. Okay. Now the first thing when they write a review, you want to make sure that they click on the number of stars that is appropriate. Okay, 1 star, not so hot. 5 stars, loved it. And so we want them to click on that first and give you a 5-star review, which is appropriate, although there are going to be times, you know, realistically, not everybody likes us. We'll talk about that in a moment, but realistically, not everybody likes us, but we're trying to encourage Google reviews, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, and then you describe your experience, and then that experience, once you've written that, you push publish, and now that experience is there for everybody to see when they do a Google search on your name. Okay, now there are also instructions on how to create the local Google Plus page. How do you get your picture of your staff up there? How do you get it to look good? And I would write down, if you're writing this down, go to create and verify a local Google Plus page. If you don't have a good Google Plus page, if you want to improve it, by all means, let Google teach you how to do that. It's relatively simple. There are 5 steps here that you take, and there are a few more steps after these 5 steps, and you can have a good-looking Google Plus page. If you're totally inept, if you just don't feel good around a computer, there's a staff member, there's somebody you know who's good with a computer. It doesn't take a lot of This doesn't take a lot of computer savvy to do that. But if you feel, I'm not comfortable with computers at all, well, you got to be somewhat comfortable with the computer. You're actually on this. You're actually tuned into a webinar. But if you're not comfortable at all, there is somebody who can help you with this. And it doesn't take very long, maybe a half hour. If you really want to make it fancy, maybe a little bit longer than that. But within a half an hour, you can certainly get a good page. Okay, there are other different types of websites. You'll see health grades in a number of different places. Health grades essentially, yes, you get started with health grades, and you do a rating. Now, when you're signing up with these other sites want essentially to advertise to other advertisers that you're a regular subscriber to health grades. And so then advertisers, because they know more people are tuning into health grades, they're more willing to advertise in health grades. So understand, all of these companies are trying to sell something. That's how they get you. But if you only go onto these sites once in order to provide a review, okay, you've done that. You're not a regular customer of health grades. And they might have your name and email address, and that's about it. So health grades is one. Here's what we do with health grades. So we typed in Sheldon and Melbourne, Florida, and we found myself and my son. Notice they're not particularly accurate. No, I'm not an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. I am a periodontist just like you. So anyway, you can click on that, and then you can then somebody can click and decide how satisfied they are with you. Okay, we had 14 people who reviewed us. We never encourage anybody to review us in Healthgrades, by the way. Okay, so you click how your experience was. You can list the number of stars. So let's go over this. Let's go over the number of steps in getting a Google review and how we do that. Okay, so the first thing that needs to be done is to create a Google account. We already talked about that, if you don't have one, or an account with any of the other review sites. There are a number of different review sites. In most communities, in fact, in many of your communities, Yelp is a very popular dental review site. It isn't here in Melbourne, but it is in many other areas. So it isn't just Google, but Google is most prominent because people are Googling your name. But if you want to, but there are other sites to go to, and Yelp is another example of one that might be very prominent in your area. Okay, again, you can create a Google account and never use it. You can create other accounts and never use them either. So if you go into Healthgrades or RateMD or Insider Pages or Judy's Book or any of these, you can create the account, leave the review, and never go back to Judy's Book again. They just want your names. So what do we do in the office? We find that correct moment. That moment that patient says, boy, I've never had an experience like this in my life. Boy, that tooth really feels good. Boy, let me tell you, that root coverage procedure that you did, I look great. I look like $1 million. Take advantage of that. That's the time you take advantage of that. And you say something like this, you know, there are many people, and you probably were one of them at one time. There are many people who were afraid to come in here. They didn't know what a periodontist does. You know, they're kind of reluctant. And many of those people who came in fact, you may have come in for that reason yourself. You came in because you heard something nice, either about what periodontics does, or you heard something nice about us. Would you mind sharing what you just said to me with other people? I could really use your help. And most people will say yes to that. So part of this, notice I just gave you a speech, didn't I? You know, here you kind of giving a lecture. So far it's one-sided. I hope you'll participate and we'll talk as a group as we finish this webinar. But there should be that prepared speech, and it's got to come out as naturally as possible. You don't want to be canned. You're talking directly to the person. And you're asking the person for help. And actually, you're asking the person to help you help others who need the same kind of service. They need the implant. They need the root coverage procedure. They need the laser, the perioscopy, or whatever it is that we're doing, because we're helping them. And people just need to know that it's okay, and it's a good place to come to. And so you're asking, you have to have that prepared speech. So you ask them if they're willing to do this, and then and you can also choose patients. You can choose friends of yours to do a review. As a matter of fact, you might ask your best friend, who's probably a patient of yours anyway, to write a review and test this out on this person. By the way, all of us are here to stretch. We're all here to stretch. Stretch a little bit. And asking somebody to write a review, that might be a little bit beyond your comfort zone right now. But try it. You know, we've got to change. We're going to change bit by bit. That's why you signed on to this program for this year. Let's change bit by bit. So the first thing you do is go to somebody and say, would you mind writing a review for me? Okay? Actually, the first thing you do is to figure out how to write a review first in order to be able to make it easier for that person to write a review in case that person needs some instruction. And your friend, your best friend, will write a good review for you. Okay? Make it easy for the patient by giving him or her an instruction sheet on what to do. And we're going to give you our instruction sheet. You'll get that. You'll see it right here. We're also going to email that to you. So so you have that. You make up your own instruction sheet. but at least we'll be able to give you some guidelines on what we do. Because when we're asking for Google reviews, we're also asking for success stories. We're asking for a lot of different things from the patient because we want different pockets of people in different areas to be able to understand who we are, and we want to be able to get positive reviews in a number of different ways. Go to my website. You'll see the number of success stories. You'll see the number of video reviews that are done, where we video a patient actually talking about what's going on and putting it up on YouTube. Number of different ways. We want to get a lot of good information about you to as many different sources and from as many different sources as possible. Okay, so there's the instruction sheet. And notice, dear patient, I hope you found, you know, if you just give the patient the piece of paper, it's not going to be as effective as you or one of your staff members talking with the patient about what can be done. So your staff member has to be comfortable doing this, and your staff member will be comfortable doing it once the staff member has written a review or at least has simulated writing a review for it. I'm not going to ask you to ask your staff member to write a review right now because we want to use that for a particular purpose. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes. Okay, but essentially what you want to do is make it as easy for the patient as possible. So notice under Google Review, okay, go to google.com, click on Sign In. I mean, make it a step-by-step program where the person couldn't possibly deviate from what you've asked them to do. Okay, and then they do the Google Review for you. Now, how about some incentives? What would a 5-star review on Google be worth to you? Well, here's a promotion that we ran when we were trying to get the 20 Google reviews. And by the way, if somebody comes up close to the number of reviews we have, we're going to run this promotional campaign again. Okay? And so what we did was at the end of the visit, at the end of the hygiene visit, or at the end of the final post-op visit, whatever it was, we gave the patient a card. Take a moment to rate us and or me and our staff, and receive 15% off the next clean in our office. Frankly, I think that's too cheap. Frankly, for a 5-star review, 50% off might get more people to do it than 15%. You've got to determine what this is worth to you, which I'd say is worth a lot. Frankly, it's worth a free trophy in your office for the amount of good that reviews do. Because a number of people come in to us talking about how good our reviews are. That's why they're coming in. So, you know, if you're charging $100, $150 for a trophy, is it worth it to have a positive review on Google 24/7? I think so. So, but, you know, we may not want to give away our services, but come up with something. And my example got a 20 Google reviews, but we're trying to get 60. We're going to do a little bit better than that. Okay, and so that's the front side of the card. This is one of our old cards. Yes, Solid Bite is my brand name. We're going to talk about branding and how you can't just use branding. Somebody asked me that earlier this week. By the way, thanks for your responses, but I love answering your emails. Do we just advertise for branding? The answer is no. If you're Coca-Cola, you have a budget to advertise for branding. If you're Leanne Sheldon, DMD, you advertise yourself and you associate a brand with it. And it's interesting. Solid Bite brand has been around for about 5 years, and people come in asking for Solid Bite now. And that's in Melbourne, Florida. They're not going to do it where you are, but at least in our area, the Solid Bite is something that's a tangible thing. They don't know what it is, but they know that we do dental implants, and we call it Solid Bite. Okay, so that's the front side of the card. Here's the back side of the card. And these are the different places they can go. So we gave you an example of Google. You could write an instruction sheet for local.yahoo.com or Bing or Insider Pages, RealSelf, Yelp, or any of the others. You can write instruction sheets. And for each review, you can give them whatever you want to give them as an incentive. Now, here's a warning. There was somebody who said a few years ago that you can write all of the Google reviews from one computer. There's a consultant who told me that, and I love that consultant, but he was so totally wrong when he did that. If you write all of your reviews from one computer, Google will see the IP address from that computer, and if all of the reviews are coming from that computer, they're going to knock all those reviews out. They will. In fact, getting Google slapped, sometimes they're knocking you out for a while too. So, no, the Google reviews have to be written on the patient's computer. Each computer in your office, let's assume you have 5 computers in your office, each of those 5 computers have IP addresses, and you don't want it coming from you. You want it from multiple sources. Okay, I've said it 3 times. You got the idea. Okay. Now, what happens if you get a bad Google review? Okay, and you've got to be prepared for this, because while you're talking with your friends, you're talking with your best patients, you're saying to your best patients, listen, when you write a review for me, and here's what I'll give you, 15, 25, 50% off, there are going to be some people who are upset with you. I don't think there's any way that we can avoid it. We certainly try to avoid it. But understand the most recent review is at the top. And so that if that 1-star review is saying that Lee Sheldon is a blah, 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 that's what's going to show up first. We've got to bury that as quickly as we can. Okay? It's at that point you enlist your staff. It's at that point you ask your staff to write reviews of you. So you get a bad review, you discover it, and by the way, you do want to check your Google reviews at least once a week, maybe even more often than that, or assign a staff member to do that to make sure that your reviews are looking good. And by the way, to acknowledge the patient who's written a good review on you, because you want to acknowledge that person and thank him or her for doing that. Okay, but you want to discover the negative review too. And then ask your staff or ask your friends, again, from outside computers, to write good reviews. And as they do, that bad review will sink lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and people are not as likely to see that. Okay? But make sure you have a plan in place. You don't want to discover it and then say, okay, now what are we going to do? Have the plan in place. Know what your staff is supposed to do in order to be able to bury that review, and have that plan in place so that if it happens, you can execute it within a few days or a week. That review is buried. Okay. So you on assigned staff members should be checking your reviews on at least a weekly basis. Just said that. Have a plan in place. Just said that. Just said that. If a patient is having a legitimate problem, though, okay, remedy it. If the patient's having a problem with you and it's a problem that you can solve, then take care of that problem, because the patient can withdraw the bad review. That's not the reason you fix the patient's problem, obviously. If the patient's having a problem with something that we're doing, most often, we don't even know the patient's having a problem. We remedy the problem, we take care of the problem, and then the patient may withdraw that bad review, and more importantly, we've got a happy patient again, or at least a patient who knows he's being serviced well by us. Avoid responding to the review. Don't forget there are HIPAA laws. You know, about the best you can say is, we're sorry you're having a problem, and we're happy to help you. Just give us a call. You know, you can write that. But you can't say, well, you know, so-and-so never showed up for his appointments and he's always a half hour late. Or you can't say any of that. That's all violating HIPAA law. So be really, really careful with response. Better not to respond, in my opinion, and bury the review than to respond to a negative review. Okay. Other review sites, we already talked about Yelp. We already talked about Healthgrades and RateMDs and Judy's Book. All of these are review sites that people see, and all of these sites have a certain amount of search engine optimization, because these sites want to show up on the first page along with you or along with dentists, because they want potential patients to click on their sites to see the reviews so they can sell advertising on those sites. So understand there's a reason to be on more than Google, but Google is where we start. And it's nice to have reviews on all of these pages. Okay, Angie's List. Many of you may be members of Angie's List. Angie's List is a subscription site. That means that anybody who's on Angie's List has paid to be on Angie's List. Now, our practices are listed on Angie's List. So if a patient, a paying customer to Angie's List wants to review us, they can click on us. They can find us there, and they can give us whatever review they want. Angie's List is considered to be a reliable review site. Why? Because people pay to join. It's part of a paid community, and therefore there is the feeling out there, and it may be true, that there's going to be a little bit more honesty because people are actually paying to be part of that site, and there's going to be less sabotage, if you will, if you're on a site like that. So Angie's List is a good place to be. You can also advertise on Angie's List, but you can't advertise until Angie's List has an A rating for your practice. Then they encourage you to advertise, and that way your practice is at the top of the list. So somebody clicks on periodontist, clicks on dentist, depending upon how much you pay, you can be at the top of that list, or you can be buried down among 2 or 3 or 4 or 500 people down lower. So depending upon what you'd like to do, if you want to advertise on Angie's List, we don't, because I just don't see that I want to do that. We have a lot of other marketing systems in place, but it is relatively inexpensive to find out what that would do for you. But first you have to get a good review. So you may want to check Angie's List yourself. You might want to pay for a subscription to Angie's List in order to be able to see what your reviews are like. You can also contact Angie's List saying, I may be a potential advertiser. Can I go online with you and see what patients are saying about me? And they will do that. Okay, Smile Reminder is one. Smile Reminder, those of you who have it know that is used for a number of things, primarily to get people in for recall visits without sending out cards, done by text message, email, and a number of different ways of contacting people. Smile Reminder also shows up very often on Google searches. Reputation.com, somebody on this webinar right now told me about Reputation.com. Reputation.com was originally developed in order to be able to take off all reviews. You know, so if you have a negative review, Reputation.com will find effective ways of burying those reviews or taking those reviews off. Well, Reputation.com has now gotten into the business of encouraging positive reviews, and you'll see Reputation.com show up on Yahoo sites. I haven't seen them on Google sites yet, but I have seen them on Yahoo sites. So these are services, all of these are paid services you would take advantage of. Okay, so that's it. Next week, Danielle will be on here. And I'm going to take some questions in a few minutes. If you have some questions or comments, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Next week, Danielle will be there for you, for your staff, on how to design a weekly battle plan, run an effective staff meeting, how to clear out problems, how to acknowledge wins, and boy, we want to make sure that people are recognized for what they do in our offices. Their staff members are recognized. So if something happened, let them announce, let everybody clap. I mean, you know, let's celebrate some things at a staff meeting. We'll show how we show statistics and what we do with statistics, how we launch new ideas and plans, and training, and all of the things that we do to run an effective staff meeting in an hour or less. Anything else on here? No? That was one slide I decided not to use. Okay, let me get out of here. And let me get out of here. And let me get up here. And yeah. Good. So I'm going to take you all off of mute. And that means I can hear anything you're saying now. So you don't even have to raise your hand. I can hear, oh, listen to all, I can hear everybody. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. Now everybody's being real quiet. Okay. So anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? I can hear you all. All of you are here. Questions, comments, anything you want to say?
I have a comment.
Please do. Announce yourself. Who is it?
This is Andrea Abelman.
Hi, Andrea. Andrea's from Atlanta, Georgia. She's an associate of Colin Richmond. And Colin is in Spain, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd ever used a QR code to direct people to give you a Google review.
I have not used it for that particular purpose. I have had a QR code. Stephanie, are you on the line? Can you hear me? Steph, you there? No. Okay, that was my daughter who handles some of our marketing. We have used QR codes on business cards, but I haven't used QR codes for that purpose. I think it's a good idea. Although if you talk to some people, Andrea, in the field, they're saying the QR codes are actually dropping off. That they, it's kind of a flash in the pan type of thing.
Yeah.
Is
I was
anybody
wondering if patients tend to like to use that or not?
Yeah, in order to do a QR code, you gotta go to one of these things. You take a picture of it, and I don't think it's working out well. But I don't have any experience with it. Anybody in the group have any experience with it? Okay, that's your history, Andrea. So,
Okay.
but I'll tell you what, try it and let us know how it worked out, okay?
Okay. I think you could put it on the same card with the incentive information and
You could. You
yeah.
could. I don't know if there's any way of tracking it, but you could. And by the way, as long as you're setting up that card, a QR code isn't that big anyway, so you can try it and see how it works. I don't think there's anything to lose by doing it. Good. Questions, comments? Who else? I love to hear from you. And I talk for 15 minutes all by myself. Any other comments on getting Google reviews, or are there any experiences that you've had in the group on getting reviews and what's worked for you? I guess not. We have a quiet group tonight. So far, we've had a quiet group. I'll encourage. I'll try to come up with ways to encourage you to speak. So, by the way, if there are any other questions, I'm putting you all on mute now because there's a little bit of background and background noise and feedback. But again, thanks for being with us. I hope you found this to be useful to you. Again, stretch. Make this happen. Start getting reviews. Start making sure that you're more prominent in your community, and you can do this for free. Any questions, email me, let me know. Hope we got a lot out of it. Hope to see you next week on how to run an effective staff meeting and how to set up a battle plan. Really, really important stuff. Daniel will be running that. And thanks for joining us. I will see you again middle of July. I forgot what you've got the program. We're going to take off. We're going to take off for 3.5 weeks. We're going to go to Europe, so don't think I'm ignoring you if I don't answer you. We're leaving on July 12th, and we're planning on going to the Rhine River and going through Germany, and then we're going to go with the kids to on a cruise to Iceland. So we're going to have a great time. See you when you get back, and have a great summer. Have a great 4th. Bye-bye.